I started reading the doc drops for Moscow, Idaho, Idaho 4 murders, and we've read through 2 of the officers' reports of when they arrived at 1122. So now we're going to read more. Let's get into it. And this is from Corbin Smith, who's an officer, and it says, on 11/13/2022 at about 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in reference to possible homicide victims. Officer Nunez had arrived on scene and found a total of 4 deceased individuals. Officer Nunez informed other units he believed this to be a homicide. When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom floor covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands. So that's Xana, it's gotta be. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male laying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. In a third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females laying in bed which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable. This has to be Kaylee. Her face was completely disfigured and was stabbed several times. I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked in blood and a pool of blood was still present. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider door. This was the alleged point of entry of the suspect. I observed very large footprints in the snow. I used a tape measure and the shoe size measured approximately 13.5 to 14 inches. The footstep went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of the footsteps head away from the slider, then turn right around a stump in the backyard and lead toward the front of the house. I observed a small hand prints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was laying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass slider door. There was a discarded black backpack in the backyard. I photographed these items and attached them to the case. I maintained rear security until I was relieved by Officer Warner. The only person to enter from this point was Captain Lanier at about 15:27 hours. So this one is Mitch Nunez. On 11/13/2022 at approximately 11:56 hours, I responded to an unconscious subject at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Upon my arrival, I found a large gathering of people in the parking lot immediately north of the 1122 King Road residence. 1122 King Road is a white, 3-story, single-family residence with multiple bedrooms. The 1122 designation is located directly above the front door, facing north. I was directed to a bedroom on the second floor by, looks like Hunter Johnson, in the northwest corner to locate the unresponsive female. Upon entering the room, I observed a female laying supine on the floor, so I think that's face up, next to a bed. According to Dylan Mortensen, this female was likely Kaylee Jake and Galvez. Now we know this to be Xana, not Kaylee. Dylan also lived at 1122 King Road. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed is in the same room I observed Kaylee. I observed a male lying supine on the bed. Again, supine means laying upward. According to Dylan, the male was likely Ethan Chapin. Dylan said that Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs surrounding his body into the bedsheets, and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, Hunter showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told Hunter to leave the knife and go back downstairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved to visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the third floor, Officer Warner and I found 2 additional apparently deceased females, both lying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the third floor. According to Dylan, these 2 females were likely Xana and Maddie. Why would she say that they're Xana and Maddie? One female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently they were deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and the immediate area, to include the parking lot immediately to the north of the residence. I walked outside and began interviewing Dylan. Dylan told me in approximately 400 hours she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor down the stairs to her bedroom but I thought her bedroom is on the 3rd floor. That makes no sense. And continued to hear commotion. Dylan said eventually she stopped, hearing a struggle, and heard a male voice say, "You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna help you." Dylan said she did not recognize the male's voice. Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build, with a black ski mask, leave the 2nd floor patio. The patio door was likely left open, as it was found open upon my arrival. I interviewed an additional roommate, Bethany Funk, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. Bethany said she was on the 2nd floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan and an unidentified person named, it starts with an L. Bethany said at approximately 200 hours on 11/13/2022, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club bar located at blank in Moscow, Idaho. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wandering Kitchen truck that was commonly located in the 300 block of South Main Street. Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out. Madison's dog out? What the heck? Murphy, sometime between 200 hours and 2030 hours. Bethany said during this, Madison was still outside with Murphy. Why is he getting all the names mixed up? Bethany said she went to bed around 2030 or 0230 hours. Bethany said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 0 through 30 hours to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Madison no, and Madison left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the 1st floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. Bethany said she initially thought the sound was a prank. See, and there's no answers to any of this. According to Bethany phone log she showed me, Bethany called Xana at 0421 hours, Ethan at 0422 hours, Madison at 0422 hours, Madison again at 043 hours, and then Kaylee at 0431 hours. Bethany said she never received an answer on each phone call. Bethany said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 hours when 911 was called. And she fails to mention Dylan apparently running down to her room scared or whatnot. Doesn't make sense. Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located on the 2nd floor bedroom with Ethan. No, that's Xana, but okay. After comparing Dylan's initial statement with other investigations officers' observations, it appeared to actually be Xana that was located on the floor of that bedroom, and Kaylee was one of the other females located on the 3rd floor. Yeah, duh. I also observed the following vehicles in the gravel parking lot that was immediately north of the 1122 building. So, a silver 2015 Land Rover Range Rover with Washington license plate blank, registered to JS. A blue 2010 Honda Civic with Arizona license plate registered to Xana Kernodle. Why does it have a J there? White 2014 Chevrolet Cruze with Idaho plate, license plate registered to KL. Red 2011 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited with Washington license plate registered to JO. And black 2017 Ford Explorer with Washington license plate registered to JO. I was originally assigned to identify all the people in the area. However, I was reassigned by Sergeant Gunderson to begin the search warrant application process. I provided the above information in the search warrant application. At approximately 16:28 hours, I returned to 1122 King Road to assist with the securing the southwest patio entrance. I took responsibility from Officer Warner in documenting who entered and exited the residence. I provided this documentation on a notepad and maintained the log until I was relieved by Officer Morris at approximately 1750 hours. The following information in the rear patio entry log from 15:17 hours until 21:15 hours. southwest corner patio, entry log 11/13/2022. You guys want to stop and read? That's what came in and out.